Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative. Speaking to Hassan Johnson about season 2 of Flatbush Misdemeanors, which is going to be available on Showtime soon. Thank you so much for your time, man. It's great to chat with you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Peter, man.
One of my favorite things about this show is, and it says it kind of when people research about the show to check it out, I mean, it's very raw, it's very slice of life, it's very funny, but it's got serious undertones. I don't think we're reinventing the wheel. I feel like this is something that's always been around. But what do you think about these comedy shows that really hit hard and have a lot of these serious undertones?
I mean, we need it right now. We're in desperate need of it. It's so much turmoil and the tumultuous that things we're going through right now, right? And there's this social divide and everything like that. So when you see characters like Dan, Kevin, and Drew and Zayna all in one, you go, woof. It's like you wipe the sweat off your brow, right? There's some normalcy in life still. We're spiraling out of control. So I think Flatbush brings us back down to earth a little bit.
Do you think it also is interesting because anytime, something gets renewed for a second season, I feel like a lot of things kind of come to mind, right? There's obviously the natural progression of the storylines, what's going to happen with these characters. But then there's also, you want to make season 2 better than season 1. Do both of them come to mind, or does one kind of stand out to you more than the other?
I think both, because you got a thing where, like you just said, you want to always outdo the last. You're always good as your last cup, but then there's that thing where less is more, right? So I don't think we try to outdo anything. Like you said, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just absconding on what we already had and making more sense of it, right? Like, okay, now, well, how do these people get themselves and out of these messes? And that's all it is. It's just troubleshooting. And then, okay, and hopefully we can get to a destination that's, whole. Maybe not. It won't be so bad if you don't either.
Absolutely. What was something that kind of drew you towards this project the most? Was it the realistic, kind of humanistic component of all the characters and kind of the slice of life component? Did you like the mix of the serious undertones with the laugh out loud comedic moments? What kind of drew you towards Flatbush?
Yeah, what drew me towards Flatbush was just the language. The language sounded like right now. It's just what's everything going on, because things are always, by the time we get it, a little late, right? This is ahead somehow, some way. And I'm like, I get it. But I'm like, how are they doing it? How are we doing it? Because then it went from like me watching the YouTube show, and then when we were on set and we're doing it, I'm like, oh, we're doing this. We're running the plays like the coach draws it up, and then we're executing it.
100%. It's interesting you bring up the digital series on YouTube, because I feel like Flatbush becomes a perfect example of what kind of excites me about the landscape of content right now. There's so many streaming platforms. There's so much more opportunity. Do you see that as opportunities now because there's so much more kind of streaming services out there, Hassan?
I mean, totally, right? And you got to just get with the program. And I think it's giving everyone an opportunity to flex their creative funny bones too. Like, you know what? It's past like just saying, let's see if we could throw something on the wall and see if it sticks. It's like, no, there's an audience and a demographic that gets this. This the story we're trying to tell. There's someone that needs to see and hear this. And like I said before in a previous interview, I think it's about giving people the chance to look from an outside in, because we're always in the middle of it and we don't understand, so now you get to have this out of body experience and just recognize and see everything from the perspective like, oh, okay, maybe I'm so hard on myself and don't need to be so hard on myself, or maybe I'm overconfident and I can kind of scale it back a little bit, right?
100%.
You figure it out somewhere in between everything. You get to read between the lines.
Absolutely. Hassan Johnson is a storyteller. That's what you do, basically. That's essentially your profession. What excites you specifically about storytelling, man?
Man, because we always want a good story, right? We always want to see or know what we have in common with other people? Are we like-minded? Are we totally on the opposite ends of the spectrum? Do we meet somewhere in the middle? So I like to do that, and not like, because we're so all unique, right? No one person is the same, right? We're all individuals, but then have so much in common. We have to come together for a common cause, and that's just living and getting through life. We can't, none of us do it without each other. So that's what I appreciate about it most, that we get to tell these stories that we know that we need answers for certain solutions, for solutions for certain problems. And therein lies those answers when we get to tell these stories.
100%. And I feel like Flatbush, because I have to tell you, I really love this show, man. I really do. And
thank you.
But I really love how just kind of like down to earth it is. You know what I mean by that a little bit? Yeah.
Totally. That's the
point.
Feedback. That's the point, right? So we're nailing it on that because, like I said, it's received so well because I think it's just so down to earth. You know, Drew, you know that Kev, you know Danny, you know Zaina, Kareem. They're all, you know, these people. Yeah. You feel like you really do know them, and then so that's the appreciation.
What is your, like, for you specifically? Because I feel like it's also because of that. You say you know these people. Some people, depending on their past experience, are going to relate more to other characters and say, hey, this is familiar to me and everything. But I'm just curious, from your perspective, Hassan, what do you think kind of hits stride the most with the audience, do you think? Is there any specific thing with the show that like stands out for you specifically?
For me, I think it's the fact that you have the most unlikeliness of characters that's all crossing one another's paths, all in the same setting, right? Because we're all from different walks of life. But then here we are now, and then it's just like we're just figuring this thing out as it goes. But then I think we're doing a damn good job of navigating through, and then at the same time having an appreciation for one another, like the coexistence of one another makes sense now. Like, 100%. Oh, okay. No wonder who you are, and I am who I am. All right, thank you. Let's move on.
100%. You know, very soon people are going to be able to see season 2 of Flatbush Misdemeanors on Showtime. It's a weird, interesting feeling, right? The calm before the storm, where it's almost coming out. I mean, you shoot season 1, you get the word that you're coming back for season 2. You know, there's first look photos, announcement dates, and everything. Now it's finally coming out. Like, has it hit you that people are going to finally be able to see season 2?
Right. Yeah. And it's exciting because you're like, wow, after all of that work now, it's almost like, did we do that? Did we actually do it? Like, you don't know, right, until you know. And then you get that reception, that gratification. And the anticipation of it is that's probably the most fun, because I ain't going to lie. Even for season 1, it was like, I was so excited, and then when it came on, it was like a sigh of relief, like that weight lifted off your shoulder, because now it made it to the finish line, it made it to its destination, and it's good, and it's good. There's good, and then there's bad, and this is good.
It's good storytelling. It is good storytelling. Yes, no, I don't think there's any more we have to say about it. Why should you watch Flatbush? It's good storytelling.
Hands down.
That's great. This was so great, Hassan. Thank you for taking some time with me. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem, Peter. Anytime, man. Thanks.
And they can connect with you on Instagram, right? It's the best way to go to keep updated with everything.
Yeah. My Instagram is HIN as in Nancy, IKOJ.
Amazing. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For previous episodes, Popternative.com as well. Audio only for podcasts to hear them as well. Hassan Johnson stars in Flatbush Misdemeanors, season 2 of Showtime. Season 2 is coming to Showtime. Until next time, this is Peter Beats and Hassan signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.